Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we're putting on our English glasses, and honestly, we're going to clear up one of the absolute most common grammar headaches out there. If you've ever paused mid-sentence, just kind of stammering, wondering which word to use to emphasize a point, hey, you are definitely not alone.
Take Tom from our source material, for instance. He was looking over a story he told about his weekend, and he realized something super relatable. He said, I used so and such like 100 times, but do you know why I used so here and such there? Honestly, no, I just said what felt right. And look, just like Tom, a lot of us guess our way through these words purely on vibes, right? But today, we're fixing that permanently.
Here's our roadmap for today. We've got the spotlight versus the blanket, cause and effect results, the quantity word rule, professional examples and exceptions, and we'll wrap it up with fixing common grammar mistakes. We're going to build this framework step by step. All right, section 1, the spotlight versus the blanket. Let's dive right into this core rule using a pretty brilliant visual analogy. Think of so as the spotlight. It pairs directly with an adjective or an adverb. So when Tom describes his weekend brunch pancakes as so fluffy it was like eating clouds, or his hike views as so beautiful he almost cried, the word so is acting exactly like a spotlight. It shines right on that single descriptive word to give it intense emotion. You just stop right at the adjective. Now, flip that around for such. Such acts like a blanket. It pairs with a whole noun phrase. So when Tom mentioned he had such a great cup of coffee, the word such is this cozy blanket wrapping around the entire phrase, the adjective great, pulling everything together until it hits the noun coffee. There's literally always a noun at the end of the blanket. Let's put these side by side to really see how it works. Notice how the noun is the ultimate deciding factor for choosing such. On one side, we have so nice. Bam! The sentence stops right there at the adjective. But on the other side, such a nice day. We have to keep going until we hit that noun, day. That noun dictates the whole structure. Here's another quick one to cement it. So talented. You're just highlighting the adjective all by itself. Versus such a talented designer. Now you've got the full noun phrase. If the next big word is just an adjective alone, go with so. If it eventually leads to a noun, you've got to use such. But wait, we have to talk about the uncountable curveball, because this trips everyone up. Look at the phrase, such beautiful weather. Do you see what's missing? There's no a or an. If the noun at the end of your blanket is uncountable, things like weather, news, or food, you just drop the a entirely. So it's simply such beautiful weather. Moving right along to section 2, cause and effect results. Let's supercharge this rule by adding some consequences into the mix. You can actually introduce a result in 3 really simple steps. Step 1 is the cause, using those spotlight or blanket rules we just talked about. Step 2, you literally just add the word that. And step 3 is your result. Put it all together and you get something like, I was so tired that I fell asleep on the bus. Or, it was such a long day that I went to bed at 8. And this brings us to a really cool native speaker secret. Take a look at this sentence. It was such a good restaurant we went back the next day. Notice anything? In casual conversation, people almost always drop the word that. The underlying structure is exactly the same, but dropping it just makes you sound incredibly fluent and natural. Okay, on to section 3. The quantity word rule. We're entering a bit of special territory now where the rules shift slightly based on, well, quantity. So actually has a group of special friends and it completely owns these quantity words. Whether you're measuring uncountable things like work and time using so much or so little, or you're dealing with countable items like emails or options using so many or so few, so is the boss. There is an absolute golden rule you need to commit to memory here. If Anna, from our source material, is stressing out over having so little time and so many ideas before her incredibly stubborn dog Biscuit demands his walk, she has to use so. Remember this, such many is always, always wrong. So takes complete control of quantity, period. All right, let's look at Section 4, Professional Examples and Exceptions. The key question here is, what happens when we step out of casual mode and need to sound a bit more polished? That brings us to such as. This phrase simply means for example, and honestly, it completely breaks our previous blanket rule because it just operates totally differently. You use it to introduce specific items. Like you might say there are many design tools, such as Photoshop or Figma. Let's compare the impact of that. On one hand, you have a casual phrase, services, like logo design. On the other hand, the professional version, services such as logo design. Swapping like for such as in your client emails, it acts like a sharp, tailored suit for your sentences. It instantly elevates your tone. Finally, Section 5, Fixing Common Grammar Mistakes. Let's tackle the final boss of this explainer with some quick error correction and a rapid-fire test to see how sharp those English glasses are right now. Okay, mistake number 1. A super common student error is using such without a noun, like saying, the weather is such beautiful. Nope, remember, such always needs its blanket to wrap around a noun at the very end. So the fix is to either use the spotlight, so beautiful, or use the blanket with the noun, such beautiful weather. Mistake number 2. If you ever catch yourself saying so a, just stop right there and switch to such. The word so never, ever takes an a or an after it. The correct natural way to say it is, I have such a good idea. All right, quiz time. Let's do a little active recall. The test was blank hard that half the class failed. Because the word hard is an adjective all on its own, what do we use? Well, the spotlight rule tells us the answer is definitely so hard. Next one, we had blank fun at the party. Now, fun is an uncountable quantity word. And since we know so completely owns all the quantity words, the answer has to be so much fun. Last test. Cities blank Tokyo and New York never sleep. Because we're giving formal examples here, bypassing our normal blanket rule, we go with our polished phrase. The answer is such as Tokyo and New York. So, to wrap this whole thing up, I want you to reflect for a second. Which grammar traffic light made your English glasses the sharpest today? Was it the so spotlight, the such blanket, or maybe that quantity word rule? Keep looking for these patterns in your daily conversations, and I promise you, you'll never have to just guess your way through these words again.